kind of day I can live without. The driest of the dry. But it had to be done. I'd given instructions, no interruptions, no phone calls. Didn't I say no interruptions?
You did.
I have a premonition if I answer that, my whole day is shot.
Then I'll take it. Yes, Jenny. Just a moment. Do you know anyone named Alfie?
Alfie?
Jenny, when Mr. Maris says no calls, he means exactly that. Now, you tell Alfie,
Casey.
whoever he is...
Casey, wait a minute. Does he have an accent?
Jenny, does he have an accent?
Do you know who Alfie is? Alfredo Ferdinand de Rivera y Padilla III, plus being consul general.
Put him through, Jenny.
We had a hot discussion at a cocktail party, baseball versus highlight. Hello, Alfie. How are you? To anyone else, the reason for Alfie's call might not have been either urgent or personal. But Alfredo wasn't the usual diplomatic officer. That a countrywoman of his, alone and friendless in a foreign country, was in jail charged with murder was a matter of first priority. Well, I'll see what I can do. Goodbye, Alfie.
Mr. Maris.
Oh.
I suppose that will be all?
Casey, do we value our South American allies?
What has that got to do with all this?
If I don't hot-foot it down to the county jail and talk to a girl named Angela, the Organization of American States may disorganize. I'll be either at the county jail or the police headquarters for the next couple of hours.
Yes.
Mr. Maris. He doesn't even know I'm alive.
Honey, did you ever hear of a delayed action fuse? It may take a while to go off, but when it does, pow!
You know, Herb, I have some theories about law. Circumstantial, sure. According to Wigmore and evidence...
Wigmore?
Most criminal cases are based on circumstantial evidence.
Since when have you taken up Wigmore?
Oh, summer reading strictly for relaxation.
Sailor's day off, I suppose.
So I'm an egghead cop. Make something of it.
I'd rather hear specifically what you have on Angela Valez.
Okay, point number one. The accused worked for the victim for about 3 weeks, and from beginning to end, the association was nothing but one knocked-out, drag-out battle.
According to whom?
Oh, the neighbor, delivery boys, mailman.
Point two.
Oh, on the morning of the murder, a real humdinger. Screams, slaps, tears, all overheard through an open window by a Mrs. Manning, who lives next door.
Go on, but please stand still.
Oh, yeah. Well, Miss Velez was seen lambing out of the house with a suitcase in her hand right after that.
By the same Miss Manning?
Yes, who subsequently went inside and found the body.
Is that all?
No. Mrs. Gordon cashed a check. She got 10 new 20s. When Angela was picked up, she had 6 of them on her. She admitted taking 7.
Well, why not all of it?
Oh, well, it's the DA's opinion that it was to throw a smoke screen over the robbery motive. Come in. I'll let you know when we're through. This way, Miss Velez. This is Mr. Maris. He's an attorney. Your consulate asked him to talk to you. Sit down.
I'm afraid I can't pay you, Mr. Maris. The police took all my money.
Well, let's not worry about that, Miss Velez. Sit down, won't you?
Excuse me. Weston. Look, can it wait? Right away. I'll be back in a minute.
Now, I'm not going to ask you whether you did or didn't kill Mrs. Gordon, Angela, because you denied it. And until and unless I'm convinced of the contrary, I accept your denial.
Thank you, sir.
How'd you get this job with Mrs. Gordon?
Through an agency, Domestics International. But it wasn't what I asked for, sir. Not from the start.
You didn't apply for this kind of job?
Oh, no, sir. I'm a nursemaid. But Mr. Kelvin, of the branch here, that is, he sent me to Mrs. Gordon, who hadn't any children.
What was it then? Housework?
Yes, sir. Cooking, laundry, upstairs work, gardening even.
And that's what you quarreled about?
That and other things. I was supposed to have 1 day and 2 nights off. I didn't get them. I was to be paid weekly. Mrs. Gordon refused to pay anything at all until I repaid all my passage.
Did the quarrels ever become physical? Violent?
She slapped me once when the stew burned. But I'd never said I was a cook. And I wasn't the first one she slapped either. There were a lot of other girls before me. The neighbors told me that.
Why didn't you leave? Get another job.
How could I? Mrs. Gordon had all my money. I had no friends, no one to turn to. When I complained to the agency, they just told me to live up to my contract.
She had all your money?
Yes, sir. I had $140 of my own when I landed. She took it. For safekeeping, she said.
But you said you had money with you when you were arrested.
That was the money, Mr. Maris. I took it out of her purse when I left. I admitted that to the police.
One more question. Did you see anyone enter or leave the house that morning?
I had been in the basement crying. I didn't hear anything, sir.
Thank you, Miss Valez.
Aren't you going to help me, Mr. Maris?
I'm going to do everything I can for you.
Oh!
Well, we're all through now, Lieutenant.
You're sure?
For the first time, I'm not afraid.
That's a very vicious character, Lieutenant.
You never know what anyone will do when they're overwhelmed by anger or appreciation.
Well, cheer up, John. You'll have to give her money back when I clear her. And speaking of money, I'd like to look over Mrs. Gordon's bank statements.
Okay.
Mrs. Manning?
Well, don't just stand there, doll. Come on over here. So, what are you selling?
Not a thing.
Buying?
What I want for free. Information.
You're a reporter.
Wrong again. Lawyer. Maris by name. My client, Angela Valez.
First the police, now a lawyer. Okay, shoot. Only, doll, move your chair over just a little bit, huh? So I don't have to squint. Thank you, doll. But I warn you, I'm prejudiced.
For or against?
For and at. Angela's your client. Isn't she a sweet girl? I mean, doll, no American girl would have stuck it out as long as she did. I mean, 13 maids in 6 months. Doesn't that tell a story?
I understand you overheard the quarrel the morning that Mrs. Gordon was killed.
Poor girl merely wanted her money so she could get out. Now, do you blame her?
You saw her leave?
Ran like the devil was after her. That's why I went in. I was going to give this Mrs. Gordon a piece of my mind. I'd had it clear up to here. And then, well, there she was, all, oh, you know.
If anyone else had gone in or out of the house that morning, would you have seen them?
Doll, do I look like a busybody? But if you want my opinion, that little Angela deserves a medal for sticking it out as long as she did. And can you imagine that agency of hers hasn't even lifted a finger to help her? Have a marshmallow?
12 girls in 6 months, and you never once asked why?
As long as Mrs. Gordon paid her fees, it was none of my business why they didn't stay. Besides, I know these girls. They get their passage paid, then break the contract and get better jobs in industry.
Can you tell me where any one of them is now?
Well, they'd hardly leave forwarding addresses, Mr. Maris. They know they'd be sued for the passage money. No, they change their names, leave the city.
May I see your records?
Sorry, Mr. Maris. They're confidential.
Then I'll have to make that request of the Labor Department.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Kick. Maris. I wonder why he's sticking his nose in.
He's the attorney for the Valez kid.
Uh-huh. Okay, you were smart to call me. I'll take care of it.
Is this all right, Monsieur Keek?
Turn around. I've told you this before, Nicole. I don't like your taste in clothes. There. The buyer from Chicago. Dinner, theater, and a nightclub. And, Nicole, don't forget to remind him that the Escort Bureau insists upon payment in advance.
Oui, Monsieur Keek.
Okay, get going. Time I put in teaching him to dress. Turn him loose in a department store and they walk out with the loudest junk they can find. You know a lawyer named Maris?
No.
This Maris is getting inquisitive.
How come?
Maiden in distress, the Latin chick.
Oh. Think maybe a couple of broken ribs might induce him to go back to his law books.
Well, like my dad used to say, you never know till you try. There he is. Mars, don't let it drag, Mitch. The sooner you get to him, the happier I'll be. Forward.
Casey was lying in wait for me with an armful of matter that couldn't wait another minute. But under the circumstances, even she had to admit that they could and would wait. I'm certain this girl is just one more of their victims. That employment agency is just a cover-up for one of the oldest and foulest rackets known to man.
Well, that's terrible. I never dreamed of such a thing.
You've led a very protected life, my sweet.
Are you sure they're going to convict that little girl?
She's the only suspect they have.
Oh, I wish there was some way I could help, Mr. Maris.
You do?
Oh, yes. If you only knew how useless I feel sometimes, just sitting here answering calls and greeting people when there are such things going on.
That's very commendable. Thanks. Casey, let's see if we can't polish off one or two. Excuse me. Miss Holmgren,
Yes, Mr. Maris.
come in a minute, please.
Yes, Mr. Maris.
There are Mrs. Gordon's bank statements.
I see you've underlined the pertinent entries.
Yes, but what bugs me, Herb, is how you knew they'd be there.
Well, John, if you want to develop a theory, you have to base it on a premise. Mine was that Mrs. Gordon had been receiving large cash payments. Here they are.
Well, the premise is fine. Now, what about the theory?
Mrs. Gordon got these girls over, softened them up by treating them like dogs, and opened up vistas of easy money and easy living. And if they were foolish enough to go for it, she got them in touch with the right people, or should I say the wrong people, and for $1,500 apiece.
But Herb, Angela would have told us if Mrs. Gordon had made any such proposition.
Well, maybe she hadn't decided Angela was ripe for it.
Oh, wait a minute. You think maybe there are other Mrs. Gordons cooperating with the employment agent?
What do you think?
Well, you mentioned the $1,500 amounts, but what about the $3,000 ones? There are three of them here.
There, my friend, may be the real reason for Mrs. Gordon's untimely and violent death.
Okay. Draw me a picture.
Well, supposing she'd made a deal with the agency to split on a 50-50 basis, and supposing she'd held out on them a couple of times.
And the third time they caught her at it.
Right.
Here she is. All right.
Wonderful.
Herb, is this...
Lieutenant Weston, this is Miss Holmgren, my receptionist.
Hello.
How do you do?
This is the address of the Domestics International Agency. Did you bring what I asked you to, John? John?
Oh, yes, of course. Now I understand, Herb. It's a decoy, huh?
This visa will make you a bona fide tourist, and here's the money for the pocketbook. We go in big for authenticity here.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Do you feel nervous?
Should I be nervous? Anytime I want, I quit job and come back, yeah?
Kvito kom. Well, as soon as you're ready, we'll see to it that nothing happens to you.
Good luck, Bridget. And keep in touch with us every stage of the game, will you?
I will, Mr. Maris. I'll do my very best.
Say, how come some guy's been tailing my cab all the way down here? I think he just pulled down the street now. Friend of yours?
No, I don't know him.
You want me to call a cop?
The cop? Oh, of course. No, don't bother. I'm sure he is a cop.
You want me to wait? I think I'll stick around. No extra charge. Okay?
Okay. But you see, I come on tourist visa. And now I love America and I want to stay. But I spent all my money. You could get me good job, yeah? Nice place. I hear you're good agency.
Your case is a little unusual, Miss Holmgren. See, ordinarily, we act on behalf of people who otherwise might not have an opportunity to come to this country.
Yeah, I understand. But I do good work. Please, Mr. Kelvin.
Well, all right. I think I have just the job for you. If you'll wait just a moment. Mrs. Landers? Kelvin. She's a beauty, Mrs. Landers. Green as an avocado. Look, I know Kick gave orders to lay off for a while, but $3,000 is $3,000. He doesn't have to know. Great, great, I will. They'll be crazy about her. I'll bring her right over.
Angela, did you ever get the feeling that those visitors of Mrs. Gordon were there only to look at you?
Once she gave me a lovely dress to wear. She said she wanted me to look my best. Then when I served them, the two men kept staring at me.
Did you get their names?
No, nobody said anything while I was in the room.
I'll get the mug book.
She fixed them out. We're halfway home.
I pay, ja?
Oh, don't be silly.
Oh, please, it is for my job, no? You keep on, please.
Yeah, thanks, lady.
Now, Landers, eh? You know, Mitch, it's things like this that make you lose faith in human nature. Yeah, wait there for me.
I'm talking myself out of a maid, but really, dear, you're much too pretty to waste yourself on housework.
Oh, but what can I do?
How about modeling? I have a friend from out of town who runs a model agency. He just happens to be here this week. Think of it. Travel, the best clothes, meeting exciting people. Let me call him.
Now? Why not first we wait? You know me better.
Oh, Miss Holgram, believe me, the best things happen this way.
Certainly, my dear. Opportunity is knocking.
What did you find out?
Keep calling, Casey.
Yes, sir.
Nothing. No answer from the agency, nothing from Miss Holmgren. How did Angela make out with the rogues gallery?
Well, either the men she saw at Mrs. Gordon's have no records, or else they're from out of town.
I'll take the or else. They'd probably send those girls as far away as possible.
Mr. Maris, a cab driver just brought this for you. It's from Bridget.
Job with Mrs. Landers, Kick. Kick doesn't have to know, more later B. P.S. Thanks for police escort.
Police escort?
Somebody must be tailing her. That cab driver probably knows where she is.
He does.
Casey, bless you. Kick. Ever hear of anyone by that name?
Yes, Kick Mason. Good family, lots of money, too much. Maybe he runs an escort bureau.
Escort Bureau, that's it.
Casey, call my office and tell him I want Kick Mason picked up and fast.
Yes, sir.
So you thought you could do a little business on the side, eh? That's what Gordon thought, and we had to teach her. And look what you fell for. A plant. I thought you had more sense.
Listen to me, Kick. We made a mistake. We admit it.
What are you crying about, Johnny boy? Look at the company you'll have when we dump you into the river. Have a car outside. We're gonna walk out together. Quietly. Or else Mitch is gonna play very, very rough. Understood? You want to stay alive? I suggest you keep your mouth shut. I can always come back for you. Come on, get going. All right, get him in the car. Hurry up!
Oh, Mr. Maris!
All right, you two, get over there. Bridget, are you all right?
Oh, yes, Mr. Maris. Wasn't that absolutely thrilling?
Sorry to keep you waiting, but, well, Bridget wants to tell you something.
Mr. Maris, I've been talking to Lieutenant Weston and, well, I have decided to join the police force.